Are you ready to stop searching outside yourself and deepen the connection that matters the most?
Welcome to the Sacred Exchange podcast. We are your hosts, John and Catherine Graham.
After years of navigating our own spiritual paths, we have learned that true transformation doesn't happen overnight. It happens in the honest and vulnerable moments when we are willing to journey within with a curious mind and heart.
Every week, we invite you to journey with us as we share our spiritual ahas, our raw truth, and deepen our understanding of the human experience.
This is a space of vulnerability and healing, where souls meet, hearts transform, and love leads the way. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Sacred Exchange, where the word of the week this week is humility and what that looks like in our lives.
Yes, it is. And we did have some pretty good conversations around humility.
Yes.
And it's interesting, you know, people, use humility or say they're humble, and then you start to see little differences or whatever. But what does it mean to be humble, or what is humility?
So I would say I've had kind of a journey with it, and it was only in the past year and a half that I think I actually came to a deeper understanding of it. And the understanding came from a compassion key session in which I was expressing that I felt humiliated. Okay. And humiliated and humility, to me, were kind of the same word, but I'd never actually looked into humility. What does that mean, right? What is the definition of that word? And so after that session, because I've heard that humility is a good thing, but I also knew that humiliated wasn't a good feeling, right? And so I looked into the origins of the word and like, what does that word mean and whatnot? And humility is essentially remembering your non-specialness, right? And so it was in that I started to kind of go, okay, so if I'm humble, then I'm remembering my non-specialness. To be humiliated would be like, I've identified myself as being this thing, right? So I think the compassion key experience that I was talking about was when I had gotten this part in a play when I was in grade 8. And during one of the dress rehearsals and stuff, there were some kids in the crowd that were doing some mean things and whatnot. And I felt very humiliated by the things that they were saying about me. And so I kind of went into that play thinking I'm a star because I've got this role of Bentley the clown and whatnot. Yeah. And for them to make fun of me was that feeling of humiliation. Like, you shouldn't be doing this to me because I am playing this part, or I'm not the one in the audience or whatever. So it was kind of like a takedown of an identity that I was holding on to. And now for me to have humility would be for me to recognize that no matter what identification I have, it doesn't mean that I'm safe from anything. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Other than I am a divine being, so I'm safe in that, but it doesn't mean that attack isn't going to happen or things aren't going to happen that I don't like. That's what humility means to me.
Okay. So do you say that then, from just using that example, that, you know, the more you, I guess, so to be humiliated, I don't want to say you'd have to really be in your ego, but you'd have to not be humble with your ego, right? So you would have to be in an egoic state to be humiliated, because here you are, I am the best, I am this, I am blah, 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 whatever the case is.
But
and then to be found out that, or...
Here's the thing, is when I was in that role in the play, I was just simply doing a role in the play. Was I going in going, I am the best? No. Was I allowing myself to step into the spotlight? I was. And then being in the spotlight brought these kind of ill effects that you don't necessarily see, right? If you see a celebrity or something, you see all of the positives of their life.
Yeah.
You don't see the other things that happen. Like how many people hate on someone that they've never even met because they don't like the role that the person is playing in a movie or whatever. So I think there's an innocent piece of the ego that is attached to being humiliated, right? It's not like every single person who's been humiliated has been like, oh, I'm the best and da-da-da, and these people brought me down. There's an identity that I have that you have now shown me I am not. Right? And I think there's that identity piece is a very innocent piece that is there that a lot of people don't recognize necessarily that's there. It's like, have you ever said like, oh, my kids would never do that? And then they go and do that like they've never done that before.
Yeah.
And you're like humiliated, like I can't believe my child's acting that way.
Yeah.
And it's because we've got this identity of this is the kind of parent I am, this is the kind of child I will
Well, and
raise.
that's kind of what I'm saying is you have an ego attachment to that piece.
But I would say
With-
it's innocent.
Well, I'm not putting innocent or guilty or whatever onto anything, but I would say to me, the more humble you are, the less potential there is for humiliation.
Absolutely.
Because if you're humble about, as best you can be, those things that come up of teasing or whatever, trying to humiliate you or whatever, it's just going to be okay. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, because humiliation and humility, it's so interesting to me how much they sound the same. And humiliation, it comes with such a deep shame that's attached to the idea of this nothingness, right? It's the letting go of an identity or a letting go of face or whatever, where with humility, you've already let that go. Right?
Yeah.
You're practicing this kind of non-attachment to this identity and going, not saying like I'm nothing, but also I am nothing.
Well, I wouldn't say it's nothing. You're pliable, right?
Yes.
I'm liquid, whatever.
Yes, I'm a woman, but you don't need to treat me differently just because I am a woman, right? Yeah. And just because I'm a woman doesn't mean I can't act like this sometimes or act like that or whatever. Like I guess that's with the humility. I'm not defined by any of the identifications that I might say I am.
Yeah.
Right? Which brings it down to that nothingness, which we hear and we think, oh, there's a void or there's an emptiness that's there. But in my experience, I used to avoid the nothingness, right? I need to be special. I need to have this title or that title or whatever. But now it's like this state of, I just am.
Yeah.
Right? And in that, there's a nothingness, but it's a beautiful nothingness.
And I think we've talked about that a few times, right? About just, not that anybody is not special or are special. Just that humble piece of, there's so much power and ease being humble.
Yes.
Surrendering to just that being just is.
Yes.
Frees a lot of things up.
Yes.
Right? Like you go back and look at past experiences that you've had from a different light and be forgiving for what those situations were. Because it's like, okay, this just was where things were.
Yeah, because in the kind of ego identification of things, we really get attached to this should not be happening to me, right? Because I'm special. And it's not that we're telling ourselves that we're special either. That's when I say, it's this innocent part of the ego.
Yeah.
We've been taught that we are an important person. Absolutely true.
Yeah.
We are important. We are special. And yet we're not at all. Right?
We're all important to the collective experience.
We're all important to, So, and it's when we individuate and we go, I am so special that this should not happen to me.
Yeah.
That's, I think, where the problem starts to come in.
For sure.
And where I've separated myself from the oneness that we all are. Because I'm going, they shouldn't be able to do that to me, and they shouldn't be able to say that to me, and who do they think they are? Mm-hmm. And that's where I can see this pattern of, who do I think I am? Yeah. Why do I think I'm so special that everybody should treat me in this specific way? Like, it's a ridiculous thought, but I was so trapped there for a very long period of my life. I think most of us are trapped there.
I agree. So, I mean, through this week, we've both been formatting,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Both in different worlds. You were formatting your book. I'm formatting
At work.
content, digital content, whatever. So, how did humility come up through formatting? Share your experience.
So formatting a book is like, it is a very difficult experience for me. And everything that is love and light about me, that's like, oh, we're all one and da 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 da, it just disappears when I'm formatting, because it's like, you have to take from Microsoft Word into a PDF, and there's certain ways that you have to break down the pages and formulate the paragraphs and all of this sort of stuff, and it looks great on Microsoft Word, and then you transform it over to a PDF and it's suddenly not the same, whatever. So I get frustrated, and I was really focused this week on formatting the book, getting the book ready to be published for the very first time, and I had other things that I also had to be doing that were very time sensitive, and time sensitive in the way of like, I've got an event that's coming up and we have to get everything done for that. There's a contract that needs to be signed. There was videos that needed to be posted. Our podcast from last week, I didn't do it I didn't post it last Sunday like I usually do.
Yeah.
So there's these time sensitive things that I was going, I'm going to set them aside and I'm just going to focus on formatting my book. And when I'm done my book, then I'll come to these other things.
Yeah.
And it was just getting heavier and heavier and heavier for me to format the book. Like, it was draining my energy. And again, I had a compassion key session on Wednesday where we focused on this problem with the formatting and the time sensitivity and like the urge that I had in me to just get it done. And then I had the epiphany on Wednesday night. Maybe I just need to get everything else done and do that, and then come back to the book, because it's actually the only thing without a deadline right now. And so I did that Thursday morning, and I knocked everything out, I think, by like 9:30. It was like very quick. And then I was able to format the book and had that done by 1:30, and it was like, oh, okay, that was so easy. And so I had to get out of my own way.
So you had to get humble.
I had to get
things done, right?
Yes, because I was really preferring what my ego was telling me that had to be done.
This has to be done this way.
I was creating a structure around it instead of allowing myself to. If I had just done the other stuff first on, say, Monday or Tuesday, Wednesday, like any of the days, I probably wouldn't have even had that niggling at the back of my mind, because it was constantly there. Like, you need to get this done because of this other time sensitive stuff. And it's like, well, that was such a simple solution. Just flip them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really allowed my ego to kind of come in and go, this needs to be done.
I need to sit here and
yeah.
I have my process is a little bit different, because I've come across this where I've sat at the desk and like,
yes.
and why doesn't this? I want it just to be this way and whatnot. And I've come to learn that I just need to walk away. I just need to take a break from it.
Yep.
And that it, for me anyways, I mean, your book is going to be done, right?
Yeah.
But and I thought, well, like, this is never going to be done. I'm always going to want to shift this, or will it be good? Will it be in a state that's presentable? Sure.
Yeah.
But I'm always going to work towards tweaking something.
Yeah.
So why what am I going to do? Chain myself to this desk until I get to that point? No.
Yeah. And so that was another part of it for me too, was having to let go of the idea of perfection that I wanted it to be. And that came down to like a part page being on the right hand side instead of the left hand side and whatnot. And when you go through, it's like 547 pages, and then you've got 2 pages that are on the wrong side in your mind. And I just had to be like, it's okay. Yeah. I could do this again, but then I'm starting back at square one, and I don't want to actually do that, because I think the birth of the book is more important than what side of the page is the part on.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I had to let go of that idea as well, and realize that I can stall myself by thinking that there is such a perfect structure that's available. And the fact of the matter is, a part page being on the left hand side versus the right hand side does not actually take away from the message of the book.
Yeah.
Right? So this is where I had to also kind of let go of my idea and accept my humility, accept my humanity, and go, I can't get it perfect right now, and that's okay.
Yeah, I do that to a certain degree, but I combat that with the little wins, right? Where it's like, okay, if I can do this one little piece,
Yep.
and it doesn't have to be perfect, but if I get this done, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
This, again, I'm going to continue to work on this, but I just need to get that one little win. Okay, this happened, this worked out, okay?
Yeah.
Now we can...
It was like the page numbers for me. I was so caught up on page numbers, and on part pages you don't typically have a page number, and learning how to do that with the page breaks and everything like that. And there's some part pages that just have a page number on them now, and again it's those two parts that are at the end that are on this side versus that. And again, it's like, does a page number, will that take away from the message of the book? Yeah. Right? And I think that's another part of that humility or that humbleness is, can you accept yourself even when you have an idea of what perfection is supposed to look like? And can you still allow yourself to show up in the world even though you're not meeting your own idea of perfection?
Yeah.
Right? And so, I mean, if someone's going to judge me because I've got a page number on a part page, I mean, this might be language to other people that they're like, what the hell is she even talking about?
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know that I've ever noticed that in a book where it's like, oh, it's got a page number on this page. It's not supposed, like, it's such a small thing.
Well, we are our biggest critic, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So yeah, it's, I think it is a process, like, to humble yourself.
And I mean, you can use both of these examples across a number of different scenarios, right?
Absolutely.
Like, we're just talking about formatting a book and formatting digital content, but I mean, you could use this like just as part of your life, formatting your daily routine,
Yeah.
or whatever. What are you holding on to, right? That is, no, it has to be this way, that you could just let go and make your life just a little bit easier or a little bit less stressful. Or whatever.
Yes, because I think we get so caught up in the idea of the structure, right? What is it supposed to look like? What is it supposed to be?
It has to look this way because somebody else told me it has to look this way, instead of it can look the way you want it to look.
Yeah.
Or it can look however it wants, you know.
Yeah, because I think ultimately the structure doesn't matter. It's the showing up that actually matters.
The content.
Yes, it's the content. It's like your house, the level of cleanliness of your house should not stop you from having people over and gathering together. You know?
Yeah.
And I know I've had this in the past where it's like my house needs to look a certain way. When I first started opening the door to having clients into our house, it was like the house had to have a full cleaning anytime a client was coming in, because I was trying to hide my humanness and the fact that we have a family, and like, not that I was doing it consciously, but it was like, it has to look perfect for them.
Yeah.
But why? And then when I allowed myself to let that go, this is the beauty of it, I think. When I allowed myself to let that go, and clients would come in and maybe, you know, there's a couple toys on the floor or dishes in the sink or whatever, people would say, I love coming into your home because I can see how happy your family is, right? And it was like, there's no like perfect clean here. There's life that's been lived. You know? So again, it is letting go of that idea of perfection or what we think is supposed to be. And I think when we allow ourselves to let go of perfection, we actually invite in energies from other people who will just accept us in our imperfections.
No, I agree with that. You resonate at a different frequency, and you're not so hard-edged on...
Well, and the thing that I think is really cool too is in Transcending the Levels of Consciousness with David R. Hawkins, when you reach the level of peace, it's actually your resonance is the level of perfection, right? And so when you can be at peace with the way everything is, with a page number being on a part page or whatever, and you just have peace, it is actually a really high vibration that you're not in fight against everything or anyone. You're just like, this is just what it is, and I can still be at peace. And
I want people to understand that, you know, it doesn't mean you're giving up or letting go or
Yeah.
you know what but it is okay.
Yeah.
It's not, oh, I'm just gonna let go of this and I'm not doing it. It's no, it is how it needs to be.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And I too focus more on like the stuff that I was working on in formatting. It's the content. It is how the content is gathered and all that kind of stuff. I think that to me it is very important. Formatting, it is important, but the content really is what, to me, is the meat and potatoes of both of what we're talking about.
Absolutely. Like, it's interesting because the day and age that we live in, there's so many things that are recorded. Right? I mean, we're recording this right now. And I don't know if you've seen those videos where like a musician forgets the lyrics to their own song, or the mics go off, or during a hockey game the person's singing "Oh Canada" and then the entire arena ends up having to take over because the mics go off or whatever.
Yeah.
And these are imperfections that happen, but in those moments of the imperfection happening, because whatever happens, and then everybody kind of joins in, then it becomes like the perfect mistake. Mm-hmm. And there's such a beauty that actually happens in that. But can you imagine if the mic went off and the singer was like, F this, and threw the mic down on the ground and went off the stage? You wouldn't be able to have that perfect moment.
Yeah.
Right?
It's kind of interesting because I was reading David Hawkins this morning about how failure is a great thing, right? Mm-hmm. Like failure is one of the things that we look at in a negative light.
Yeah.
But it is so important.
Yeah.
And it brings up these beautiful things where a lot of things do get discovered by mistake or through failure.
Yes. Yes.
And it's like, yeah, you would never know the beauty that you know without those failures.
Yes. Well, yeah, there's so many. Every failure that we have is actually kind of narrowing the path to the right thing, yeah. Right? Yeah. And so every time, and we're not necessarily taught this, that every time we make a mistake, we're actually learning what not to do, yeah. And that should be celebrated. Yay, I learned not to do that. That's perfect. With page breaks, I learned not to press enter. Awesome.
So we're formatting our lives, right?
Yes, yes.
So the more we fail, and you can use this in the context of what formatting your book, formatting data, the more we didn't get this or it's not quite right, we're still learning and we're still revising.
Yes.
To get to
that perfect point.
Yeah.
And I think we really need to shift the energy around the word fail and around the word failure.
Yeah. Because
we all try to avoid it.
Yeah.
But it's like it is actually exactly what's needed in order to get you to the level of success that you're going to be at. And the fact of the matter is when we see people in successful positions, we often have no idea how many failures did they go through, how many ups and downs, how many times did they want to quit, how many times did they want to give up, how many times did they go, this is just not worth it or whatever, but they just kept going. And actually we were talking this week because I shared with you the article, I don't remember the man's name and forgive me for that, but a man who was working on something. I don't remember what he was trying to work on, but he grabbed the wrong part at his desk and he put it onto this thing that he was trying to make, and he ended up accidentally making a pacemaker for hearts, which has kept people alive. And it was a complete mistake because he was tired and he was just kind of like, ugh, and just grabbed it and made the perfect mistake, which ended up saving lives. Yeah. Or the kids who filled their dad's lawnmower with the bubbles instead of gas and made the Fisher Price.
Lawnmower,
So mistakes I think should be celebrated, and I know I haven't always celebrated my mistakes, right? And again, it goes into that idea of humiliation, right? I don't want people to know the mistakes I've made. Well, why?
Yeah. And I even think this week there was a few times where you said, oh, this didn't work, and I was, well, at least you learned something, right? At least,
yes.
What's the takeaway? It's, okay, well, not to do that again. And
yes.
in my situation, there's points in the software that I'm working on or with that I can't save, and I have to be very careful about how I add or put things together, because if I do a whole bunch of progress and then mess something up, I can't just undo or go back.
Yeah.
I have to redo it all over again. So I learn very quickly.
Yeah. Well, and it can be so frustrating too, right? And I know that was the energy that I was really getting caught up in this week, was this frustration. Again, because the ego was like, this is like, we've got to go. We got to push. And the frustration, funnily enough, seems to actually create a lot more mistakes.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, because then you get into that panic mode where you're looking for whatever will work.
Yes.
Right? Whatever's going to fix this. And it's like, the whole process is the fix. It's not looking for the fix that's the fix.
And I think it's kind of about finding that peace through the process instead of allowing that frustration to take over.
Yeah. Going, okay.
Yeah, let me go with the flow here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, humble yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. Being humble is, it is a practice, right? Just like everything that we've talked about a number of times, there, you can't just, I'm humble and that's it. This is how I'm going to be. No, because there comes times where, like you said, you just get frustrated.
Yeah.
But
I feel like humbleness would not actually announce itself as being humble.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It would be a very proud humbleness that would be like, look at how humble I am.
It would just, it wouldn't even say look at anything. It would just...
I'm just humble. Yeah. Yeah. And I ran up, and this is another reason why I wanted to talk about being humble and humility and everything this week, is because we've had a few conversations now where we've had to humble ourselves and go, who do I think I am that I think this person saying this shouldn't be said, right? And that has been just kind of a key reminder for me this week of like, anytime I think I'm better than, or any time because I guess for me it was people questioning my authority.
Yeah.
Right? And I was going, do you know who I am? Do you know how long I've been doing this work? Do you understand how invested I am in this stuff? Like, it's not like I started yesterday. And then I was like, whoa.
And interesting enough, we both had that same thing come up this week where it was like, these inexperienced people trying to give advice on things that we didn't really think they should give advice on.
Yes.
And it's like, well, who am I to tell them that?
Yes, and why am I not staying open? Because here I've got myself at this level and I've got them at this level.
Yeah.
And then I'm not staying open because I'm now seeing them at this level, which means I've completely disconnected from everything that I say to be true.
Yeah.
We're not one when we're on different levels, right? And I know we've talked about this before on the podcast as well, about just staying open and staying curious. Isn't that interesting that you're bringing this into my awareness? I knew this already. Yeah. I don't understand why you're telling me that, but it's like...
The I knows, right?
Yes, the I knows, and I am better than, and that was kind of a shock to me this week of like, ooh, where do I think I'm coming from now?
Yeah, because I had a very similar experience, and it was just like, it wasn't until after, because in it I was like, who are you to talk to to tell me how this is supposed to be? And after I was like, okay, they're just doing what they think they can try to contribute or help out, right? It's coming from a good place. It's not, but here's my ego going.
Well, the ego comes out defending, ready to go. Do you not know who I am? and it's in that I've forgotten who I am.
Yeah.
Right? Because actually, as much as I could go, I've been invested in spirituality daily since 2006, it means shit.
Yeah.
Right? I'm still learning. I am still a student of spirituality because it is such a vast thing. So who am I to think that I am the ultimate teacher or the ultimate knower or whatever? I'm not that special. I need to humble myself and to also receive. There's a reason other people are bringing that into my field.
Yeah.
There's a reason someone is bringing that into your field.
Yeah.
Right? So, or a reason that we've created them to do it. And maybe it was simply so we could have this conversation today about humility. But I know we were both in the throes of it.
Yeah.
And just, it was kind of awesome for us to be talking to each other and go, oh, you're understanding this completely right now.
You're having the same experience.
Yeah, but it was also your reflection helped me to understand my own experience better and to go, right, I need to humble myself. I need to just take myself down a couple pegs here.
Yeah, just let it go.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's funny because your ego is like so strong in those moments where it's like, who, you get this big whatever, like your back up, and just continuing with the ego. I had a little bit of an epiphany or whatever this morning, right? And for all the Star Wars fans out there, take this for what you will, but just randomly watching things on Facebook, and there was a Star Wars thing that came up, and it was a pretty deep whatever conversation, and I started thinking about it. It's like, George Lucas did a great thing here. He veiled this good, bad, light, dark into this story of the ego and divinity.
Yeah.
Where you have the dark side, because your ego is, not always dark, but it has a lot of the attributes of the dark side.
Yeah.
And where divinity would be like the Jedis, and they have all this whatever
The light
on their side.
Yeah.
And as I'm sitting there and I'm talking to you and I'm contemplating this, I'm saying, I'm thinking about the movies. I'm thinking about how all the stories played out. It's like, wow, these are all little lessons just ingrained into this movie. We sitting here watching this movie think it's this, story of triumph and love and this, that, and the other thing, which it is.
Yeah.
But the message is so much deeper.
Yeah.
If you just look at it. And I encourage people, and I think this goes for just about any movie, if you just change your perspective of what that movie is.
Yes.
I'm a huge Star Wars fan. You're not. Never watched any of the movies, but you've been around enough people in this family to know.
I get it. Yeah. Yeah.
But I encourage people, watch movies from that different perspective.
Yes.
And what was even more funny was the scene I had talked to you about that wasn't the scene I was watching, was the scene of when Luke Skywalker confronts Darth Vader and is talking about how, you're my father, or whatever, or I'm your father. And just him trying to convince him, I am the ego. You need to listen to me.
Yeah.
And the Jedi side is like, no, I can sense there's conflict within you. I can sense there's that divinity and ego struggle that's going on.
Yeah.
And it was like, wow. And 5 minutes after I had this conversation with you,
that's the video that showed
the
up.
video popped up, and I was just like, okay, I want to share this with you folks, because I do think if we change that perspective when watching, you can watch all the movies you watch them all again.
Yeah.
From a different perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the same with music too, right? I hear music different the deeper I go into it. And I just actually what you were just sharing, I'm going to bring it up on my phone now because I saved this meme last night. This is how we actually started the conversation last night about humility. Was I seen this meme that said, you fast, but Satan does not eat. So let's replace Satan with ego.
Yeah.
So you fast, but ego does not eat. You labor fervently, but ego never sleeps. The only dimension with which you can outperform ego is by acquiring humility, for ego has no humility. Right? And in here they use Satan instead of ego, but to me, Satan is the full removal from divinity, and that's what ego is as well. And so when you're talking about that scene in Star Wars, where the ego is like, I am whatever, divinity never actually arrives and goes, I am divinity.
No.
It is like, I just am.
Yeah.
I don't have to announce it. I just am.
Well, and that's another thing is, like some of the other clips, or any of you Star Wars fans will know, they don't like the Jedi's don't show up and be like, we're
I'm a Jedi.
You know, they are one with the Force.
Yes.
Right? They're one with that energy, with that collective.
Yes.
And they're never looking at it from a like it's mine.
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong, because again, I haven't seen Star Wars, and I at this point I refuse to see it. I'm just like I get it. I understand the whole premise, but Luke, when he first finds out that he's a Jedi, he has a lot of fear inside of him, right? And they're like, we need to remove the fear in order for you to step into being a Jedi. Or like Yoda says it about him or something. Like there's something that it's like he can't be trained quite yet because he's not quite prepared for.
Mindset wise,
Yes.
He's lacking that focus. Yeah.
Yes. And so that to me is also a good representation of we all need to go through these initiations to be able to fully develop into our divinity and to fully remember, and that it's not that life is working against us. And it's not that life is trying to destroy us, but that these are all initiations for us to help remember our divinity. Because I think if we had even just a day where we fully embodied our divinity and just remembered that and nothing else, it would just blow our minds.
Yeah.
Like, I can't even fathom what that would feel like, because I've had moments, right? And the moments become kind of longer and whatnot. But you forget.
Yeah.
Right? You go out into the world and you have someone say something to you and you're like, who do you think you are? And my ego is just there.
Where I'm now realizing how Star Wars is that internal battle, that dark and light within you in a movie that it shows you that you need to practice, right? As like to become this, you need to practice these things and you need to have that humility. And yes, it's a journey. And even with some of the characters, there's that, you'll see even more conflict or more of a intimate conflict within their character of the dark and light.
Yeah.
So not only it is like, it's that micro piece within
this macro kind of universe, which then plays out into this macro universe.
Which, again, never looked at Star Wars other than it's a story, it's entertaining, but it's much deeper than I think or maybe I'm just taking that way. I don't know.
Well, and I think it all comes down to your perspectives at the time, right? Like you can watch the same movie over and over again, and each time you're taking a little something different. Or you can have two people who watch the same movie, and one is like, oh my God, this is what I got from that. And the other person's like I actually said to you with our son that sometimes we'll watch a movie together and I'll be like, oh my goodness, and this big spiritual thing and this, and he's like, it's not that deep. But to me, it is that deep. But there's such a representation of the depth. What's interesting is how deep he goes into music now.
Yeah.
Right? And the depth that he can find through the lyrics and the words and everything like that I wasn't aware of. So he brings that kind of depth into that. But yeah, as we shift and as we change, and I think because you've become aware of the dance that happens between the dark and the light within you, now you can see that representation and go, right, these are those characters that I've got inside of me that are now playing out on the screen.
Which then in turn helps your practice, right? Like, movies and shows and what are good.
Yeah.
But if you look at it from that light and you can mirror that back to yourself, how is this being represented within me?
Yeah.
In my daily life? Then you can start looking at, okay, I can look at this from in a different way, or I can humble myself about formatting my book, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I actually think that's one of the unspoken gifts that comes through entertainment. Is the voice that it can give to the different expressions of us, and even like the show Shameless. When that first came out, right? And we're watching it and I really love it. And like these people, it's like, wow, they've got a lot going on. There's a lot of dysfunction and stuff that's here. And yet each character was so lovable. And the way I grew up was I probably would never have associated with people like that.
Yeah.
Because that was like, no, we don't talk to people like that. Where it was like understanding their humanity beyond every single choice that they were making, right? And yeah, it just kind of opens your heart to all these different kinds of expressions of life, and that we don't have to be at battle with any of them, and also any parts that those might represent within ourselves, because there's a lot of people walking around with shame, which brings us back to that same humiliation, right? We are so humiliated by the choices that we've made and the mistakes that we've made in the past, or the mistakes that we're making now, or the way our lives are. We're so humiliated by it, we will not express it to anybody because of the shame, and we don't want people to think this, that, or whatever, that it's like we're only living a half-lived life.
Right.
We're not allowing ourselves to be like, this is fully who I am, you know, and it's heartbreaking. Yes, and I've allowed it to run my life, and I think that's why I get so passionate about it now, is I've allowed myself to be this kind of decompressed expression of myself. Is that the right word? Decompressed? Like, it's just like suppressed, compressed. I don't know.
Hey.
All the pressed. Depressed, compressed.
You've let go of the structure or what was told, right? Like, so it's
Yes.
deconstructed, but yeah.
Yeah, it's like no more asking for permission to exist as I exist. Yeah. No more apologies for being who I am.
It's like a Nirvana reference.
What's that? Yeah, all apologies. Yeah, no, I just, and I mean, my word this year is liberation or liberty. I think liberation, and it is just allowing myself to be liberated from everything that I thought I was supposed to be, and just allowing myself to embrace everything that I am with this humility that everything that I am does not make me any more special than the next person.
It's that surrender, peace, liberation, like you can.
Yeah, and you just get to exist then. Yeah. You just express.
Which is great. Like,
yes.
It is, you're here for the experience, period.
Yes, and I'm here to express what the experience has been for me. And it's like, it just is. You know, why have I been in argument with what is and what I am for so long?
Yeah.
You know, it's like Luke Skywalker. I'm going to bring it back to Star Wars. But Luke Skywalker, they wrote him a specific part that he had to play.
Yeah.
Right? And he could play it in whatever way he wanted to play it. And he played it in the way that he played it, which has been a remarkable performance. And everybody loves him and da-da-da-da-da. He couldn't have done it any other way. And every mistake that Luke Skywalker made along the way, and every fear that he had, and every anger that he had, and every outburst, and every epiphany, and everything, it was all perfectly designed by George Lucas, you know. But can you imagine being in an argument with that? Every single scene that he's showing up, and he's not supposed to do it like that. Yeah. Why would you have me say that, or whatever? And it's like we've all been given this perfect part to play. Right? And if we're in argument with it, or we're in battle with what our pieces have been that has been written out for us, like, we can't actually enjoy life. Yeah. So.
Yeah, and just I know we've had this experience with a number of different movies, and shocking with some of them, where it's like, I wouldn't say they're bad movies, but movies with different content, where it's like, I never thought this would be... Are you talking
about Natural Born Killers?
Yeah. I was like, man, this is a huge takeaway and it wasn't just like, oh, this one scene. It was, you were watching it from a different light, and you're seeing all these great things, and it's like, wow, how did I not see this before?
Yes.
So that's what, again, I encourage people, go back and watch some of these movies from a different perspective.
I would say your favorite movies, whatever the movies are that you've been like, love this movie, absolutely love this movie, because that's what Natural Born Killers was for you.
Yeah.
As well as Star Wars, you've watched them multiple times.
Yeah.
There's movies that you've been drawn to, and it's like every time you watch them, you're reaching this new level of witnessing it, which is actually just representing the new level of witness that you have for yourself.
Yeah. And it's funny because all these movies I've watched, like you said, multiple times, and yes, it's getting deeper and deeper and deeper.
Yeah.
And then now it's taken me in a different way, and it takes me this way, and it's like, okay, well, that's interesting. And then you almost want to watch the movie again just to see, okay, how, like, and focus on whatever, like, if it's, okay, well, how is ego showing up here, or how is divinity showing up here?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just very,
I question, and it is just a curiosity that I have, because with movies, with music, with books, and all of that, different things reach different people at different times, and different messages come through. And I know, or it's my understanding, that creativity is an expression of the divine, right? And so when we're watching a movie and it's like, oh, that just hit me in this way, it's like, did the divine, like, in this grandly orchestrated plan, was the divine like, I need John to love this Natural Born Killers movie so that when he watches it for the 47th time, he's going to hear this message, and this is going to be like, do you know what I mean? It's that spark of divinity that comes through.
well, and we've had this very similar discussions about movies and stuff, where is that director or the person that wrote this movie so enlightened that they ingrained these pieces in there for these lessons?
Yes. But, or are you connected to that divinity, and you don't even necessarily know how powerful of what it is that you're saying is going to hit someone somewhere down the road to just change everything.
Yeah.
You know, when my dad was dying, my sisters and I, we were singing As Long As You Love Me to him by the Backstreet Boys. And just a couple of years ago, it came on the radio, and I was listening to it, and it was as though, like, the universe was speaking to me, like, I don't care who you are, where you've been, what you've done, as long as you love me. And it is that unconditional love that comes from God, the universe, divine, whatever you want to call it. But I'd never heard it that way before. And I try and do that with a lot of love songs at this point in time in my life, where it's like, if this was God speaking to me, how would I receive this? Right? And it really does take love songs to a totally different place of like, I love you and accept you exactly as you are, because we've been given this idea of this kind of judgmental God, which then makes us feel humiliated and ashamed for who we are, instead of this unconditionally loving God that we can then revere and go, I am so humble in your presence because look at all that you've provided for me. I don't need to be humiliated about who I've been.
Yeah.
Because you've known that part. I can't hide it from you. You've known it, and you've accepted it, and you just continue to love me.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And I would challenge, it's not just love songs. Because and that's another thing that I've done, is going through listening to old music where it's like, I don't know, there's a couple weeks ago that I came home and was listening to
me higher. Yeah.
Listening to like a Creed song or whatever, and it's like, okay, I get it, this music or this song was deep, but there's other parts to this that are deeper than what we really think they are. And it's just go back, revisit all your favorites, listen to them from a different perspective.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think trying to do that it's just a great thing, but try to keep that practice in mind in your daily life as well. If you've always done something a certain way, or always held this perspective of, you know, you can't eat sugar, you can't eat meat, whatever, challenge that.
Yeah.
What? Like,
well, I think it's just giving yourself that permission to express however you're meant to express on that day. It's letting go of all of the conditions to just go, this is who I am today, you know, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Like, I guess it all goes into letting go of the identities, because anytime that we value something more, as though we have to cut absolutely every other expression of this off, because now I am the person who does not.
And that's what I'm saying. You can make these little adjustments. Take a different, if you go to work the same way, take a different route.
Yeah.
If you eat the same breakfast every day, try orange juice in your cereal. I don't know, like, just try things. Just
my mouth is like, don't do that.
Why not? Great things are discovered by, you know,
by mistake.
By doing these little combinations and changing perspective. So
yeah.
And why not? What does it hurt? What does it hurt to Okay, so you have a small bowl of cereal with orange juice in it, and it tastes like, okay, now you know, right?
Yes.
Or you take a different route to work and it's longer, well, you know,
Yeah.
or something happens longer.
But-
Whatever the case may be, at least you're changing that perspective and you're learning something rather than doing the same thing over and over the same way.
And isn't that like the beauty of being human? Like I know I've had these kind of questions to you in the past, but like who is the person who watched a chicken lay an egg and was like, you know what, I'm gonna crack this open and I'm gonna put it
yummy.
Yes, especially like our daughter when she was younger, she had said to us, yeah, you guys let me eat poop. And we're like, we don't let you eat poop. Why would you say that? And she's like, I eat eggs. And I'm like, eggs aren't poop. And she's like, they come out of a chicken's butt. And she was, I don't know, 5 at the time or something like that. And it was like, oh, you actually thought that was poop. And then I was thinking, well, is it? Like, I know, you don't like eggs. You don't like eggs. But there's been so many foods.
Yeah.
Like, who comes up with these ideas?
Well, and that's, to me, is how we come to these things, right? Is somebody went, no, I'm not going to do it this way. I'm going to try something new.
Yeah.
And why not? If it's just a little adjustment, there's no harm, no foul, whatever. Sure, you can increase those stakes as much as you want, but
yeah,
why not?
You know,
if anything, it's entertaining to yourself versus.
Yeah, it's interesting to me as well because I can see, like, in my life there was this kind of pattern or this idea that like we should be just more loving towards each other, right? And that started when I was very young and has carried through my entire life. And what I kept running up against was like this kind of proof that no, this is not the way the world works and this is how it's supposed to look and whatnot. But that kind of niggling inside of me, or this knowing inside of me, was always there. But I kept looking for proof from other people that what I was feeling was actually correct, right? And sometimes, like the person who had to crack the first egg open and fry it, sometimes you have to be that pioneer to go, this is actually the way I'm going to do it now. Not that I'm the first person who's ever been like, love is the answer. I mean, we've been talking about that, but it's like, let's actually show, what does that look like? Yeah. What can that journey be?
Well, I always try to do this, is find the love. And you can. I mean, sometimes it's very deep buried in whatever scenario you're in. But where is the love in this situation, right? Mm-hmm. It's like, sometimes you have to ask why, or how. Yeah. But eventually you will get to a piece where it's like, okay, well, that, in a roundabout way, that is love just appearing how it needs to appear. Yeah.
Well, and for myself, it was like, I've just got to become it. Just, how can I be the most loving? If I'm seeing a situation where I'm like, okay, well, then I'm detached from my love for one. So how can I become loving in this situation? How can I become loving in this moment? Or where can I offer forgiveness? Or where do I have an edge here? Or whatever. But I think part of that humbleness and humility is allowing yourself to let go of what everybody else thinks you should be doing or how things should be working, and being willing to be the person to do it even if everyone else is against.
And not just what everybody else, what you thought you should be, right?
Yes.
Because I know that we've had this conversation with our children, and we've had it with ourselves where, by this age you should be this. Nobody's telling you that. I mean, somebody has at some point, and now you're telling yourself that. You got to let go of that as well. Yeah. And just go with the flow.
Yeah. 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 Well, and even the idea of love itself, right? We tell ourselves what love is supposed to look like, how it's supposed to show up and stuff. And sometimes the most loving thing you can do for someone actually doesn't look like love at all.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, it's like, you could try and hold my hand while I keep walking off a cliff. Yeah. And at some point you need to let go and let me fall off that cliff. as a loving act, and it might be so I can learn how to fly.
And that's kind of what I was saying about you. With every situation, you'll find the love in it.
Yeah.
You just gotta continue to peel back those layers, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And sometimes, yeah, there's many, many layers to it, but
Oh, absolutely. And you have to, and this kind of brings it back to the movies and stuff, you have to be able to be willing to look at every single character and their origin story in order to fully understand every single action that they're doing, right?
where
Because
did it come from? Where did this?
where did this come from? Why do they show up with cake every time I'm sad? I just want them to listen. And it turns out grandma bought them cake every time they were sad when they were kids. So they're like, this is love.
And that's a great analogy for life in general, right? Is you meet people on the street, you don't know their story.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind. Everybody has that story, and underneath that, there's love.
Yeah.
In everybody's story.
And we are love.
Right.
Right? And then we kind of put on all these different pieces, these identities, and some of those identities tell us we're not love.
Yeah.
Right? And some of those identities tell us I should get love because I am this. I am a daughter. Therefore, my parents should just naturally love me. Well, that's not necessarily true.
Right. And then if you were practicing humility, it just is.
Yes.
Right? It just is love.
Yes.
There's no precursor to that. There's no you are loved because of, no, it just is.
Yeah.
And
the air is just air. Love is just love.
Yeah.
And it's
There's
every...
no specialness to any of them.
Yes. Yes. It's letting go of all of those identities and all of those attributes and ideals and everything of, again, how it should be. Like, who came up with should? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
I agree.
Anyways. We're going to be humble enough to hop off now.
That's that.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us here today for another episode of The Sacred Exchange. As always, we would love to hear from you. Drop your thoughts down into the comments or send us an email at info@compassionwithkatherine.com. And
Like, subscribe, thumbs up. We're on Spotify. Remember what I said? Go back, watch your favorite movies, listen to your favorite songs from a different perspective.
yeah, and maybe see, is there a new story that came out?
And let us know in the comments, is there something, maybe a movie that we should watch or something that you would recommend that, hey, I think this was very interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll talk about it. You never know.
Yes. All right. Have a great week, everybody.
Take care, folks.